Jami Floyd, who's an anchor for In Session, and in Hollywood, Carlos Diaz, who's a correspondent for Extra. Jami, Carlos, welcome to you both. And we start tonight with Sarah Palin. She gave a very candid, very feisty interview with conservative radio talk show host and filmmaker John Ziegler. She spoke out about some of her headline-making beefs during her run for vice president, including those with Katie Couric, Tina Fey, and what she says is the liberal media. Carlos, were you surprised to hear what she really thinks?
Yeah, I do, and I'm not. Listen, if you're a big Sarah Palin supporter, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, okay? But I thought it was completely off base. She seemed angry. And you know what? You have to lose graciously. I mean, John McCain, he lost the election. You don't see him, pointing fingers and yelling and screaming and this and that. I mean, she's out there blaming the liberal media, blaming Katie Couric, telling the world that the universe doesn't revolve around Katie Couric, when the bottom line is Katie Couric asked you a simple question: what newspapers do you read? What do you read? And she didn't answer it. She didn't answer that question. And now after she's lost, she's wanting to point fingers at everybody.
Well, I want to talk specifically about her botched interview with Katie Couric. We all remember one particularly uncomfortable moment when Palin did stammer through that question that you mentioned, Carlos, about what newspapers she reads. Well, you've got to hear Palin's reaction after she watched Couric's snarky comments to David Letterman about that.
Even in the post-election interviews, Dave, that she's done, nobody's really asked her, why didn't you answer that question?
Because, Katie, you're not the center of everybody's universe. Maybe that's why they didn't think to ask that question amidst so many other things to be asked. To me, the question was more along the lines of, do you read? What do you guys do up there? What is it that you read? And perhaps I was just too flippant in my answer back to her.
Jami, does it sound to you as if Sarah Palin has regrets, or is she still just spitting mad over the whole ordeal?
I think she has regrets and she's spitting mad over the whole ordeal. And I have come back to that. The world doesn't revolve around Sarah Palin either, especially now that she lost. So I think it's time to, as Carlos suggests, grow up and shut up. The election is over. John McCain has been gracious. In fact, he's been appropriately absent, except when called upon to serve by our president-elect. And that's what Sarah Palin needs to do. This just reinforces what I think voters knew. She's just not ready for prime time.
Well, Sarah was also insulted when she watched this next clip of Tina Fey on Saturday Night Live. Take a look at this.
I believe marriage is meant to be a sacred institution between two unwilling teenagers.
How does that make you feel?
The mama grizzly rises up in me, hearing things like that. Here again, cool, fine, come attack me. But when you make a suggestion like that certainly attacks a kid, that kills me.
Okay, she's a protective mother, and she did go on to say that even in light of that clip, she is glad that she went on Saturday Night Live because it's important to poke fun at yourself. Carlos, still, it does sound like she's having a hard time seeing the humor this time around. And I also want to say, isn't that the difference? You and Jami both say that, John McCain has handled things a little bit differently, but Sarah Palin's family was brought into the whole mix there.
But it's not the first time that's happened. Remember when Madonna went on SNL and sang happy birthday to Phil Hartman as Bill Clinton? The skit ended with Madonna hitting on Chelsea Clinton. I mean, the family's always brought into it in some way or another. I honestly think that Sarah's just got sour grapes in this situation, and she does need to go away and stop talking about this. And a very interesting point in that conversation that she had in this recent interview, she said that she didn't know they made fun of her of the teenagers in the situation. So she didn't know that before she went on SNL. She didn't know that. How can you not know that? How do you not know that,
She
Sarah?
had other things to do. She was busy, and I think now that the whirlwind is over, a little time has passed. It is sinking in bit by bit. But you guys, we could talk about this all day. But I want to move now to our next story. Joe the plumber back in the news with a brand spanking new job, new year, new profession, from plumber or whatever he used to be to war reporter. Everybody's talking about it, including the ladies of The View. Take a look.
So you don't really need experience to go be a journalist.
Look, it doesn't take a genius to start a war, so it doesn't take a genius to cover a war.
People truly related to him, I think, during this election. I think he'll actually offer something, and the guys there who are giving their life so that we can even talk about it will feel comfortable talking to him, and he'll be able to transfer their words back to us.
Jamie, very quickly, whose team are you on? Team Joy or Team Elizabeth?
I'm on the team that says that Joe the plumber, or whatever he is, needs to go away. Is this guy kidding? Reporters can't even get into this war zone. How does he think he's getting in there?
Right.
Is he going to crawl through the pipes?
We're going to see what his reports are like. It'll be interesting, to say the least. Jami Floyd, Carlos Diaz. We'll leave it there. Thank you both.